Before we get any further, this video contains spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 5. If you haven't seen it yet, we highly recommend you head on over to Disney Plus and watch it before continuing with the video. If you're all caught up or just don't care, let's dive right in. Another week, another amazing episode from The Mandalorian. Unlike other seasons that took their time to set things up, The Mandalorian is coming in hot. 5 episodes in, and we've already committed to retaking Mandalore. We know you're all eager to hear our take on Bo-Katan, Din, and the covert's activities, but the truth is, we're waiting just like you. We could hazard several guesses, but as things are right now, we're waiting to see where Bo-Katan wants to go with this. We're hoping to be able to dive into all of these developments next week when we have more information. This week, however, we'll be talking about something we know for a certainty. The New Republic sucks. It's incredible how something so weak and wimpy came out of a rebellion hard enough to crack the Empire's iron grip on the galaxy. Honestly, we're pretty salty. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at what it started as and what we have today, as well as guessing how it all went wrong. We don't think we really need to go into too much detail about why rebels were badasses. We've talked about them extensively in the past, but we'll look at some of the highlights today. Let's start with the political risk. Many of the rebel leaders weren't randos from some backwater world. Instead, they were senators who believed in democracy like Mon Mothma or Bail Organa, or esteemed military men like Admiral Yularen. While the less prestigious alliance members were the building blocks of the rebellion, these prominent figures were its backbone, and for years they risked their lives and careers to build something out of nothing. It took almost 20 years for the alliance to form, and for those years, these figures risked their necks to keep as much of the galaxy as they could save. They stood up for what they believed in, and when the time came, they fought for it. To that end, the rebellion was fierce. They scavenged everything and anything they could to fight the Empire, from old Clone Wars era equipment to seized Imperial ships and tanks. Anything they could get their hands on was fair game, and much of what they acquired was modified for their needs. It wasn't easy, but persistent efforts over time gave the Alliance fleets, guns, and supplies to set up their bases and prepare themselves for their incursions and final assault. But above all else, the rebels were determined to not let anything get in their way. It wasn't just former Republic citizens who fought the Empire. The Alliance was called that because many different factions came together to face down a common foe. Loyalists and Separatists came together. Jedi like Ahsoka Tano, Luke Skywalker, and Ezra Bridger played important roles, and even Imperials who defected joined the ranks. Despite the widely differing backgrounds, everyone banded together, supporting one another, and fought like Rancors, because to the Alliance, there was only one way out. In short, the rebels were badasses. And then, you have the New Republic. Compared to the strength and resilience of the Alliance, this New Republic is much more than just a disappointment. In many ways, it feels like an insult. Everything we've seen of it so far is not only dysfunctional as heck, but straight up dystopian and creepy. This week's Mandalorian episode gave us yet another example of the New Republic's flawed system. When Captain Carson Teva was alerted to the situation on Navarro, he knew the only way to have a snowball's chance in hell at getting Coruscant to listen was to up and fly all the way to the deep core from the Outer Rim to deliver the news in person. Even then, his request for backup is denied, and it's infuriating. First, we're told the bureaucracy is too important, then that they simply can't spare any troops. But where it gets our blood boiling is when G68 swoops in oh so innocently to add that Navarro isn't a member of the Charter and thus doesn't get support. When Captain Teva calls her out on her Imperial thinking, the paper pusher admin defends her. As a side note, you know a villain is written well when the audience hates them intensely, and the Imperial scum that is G68 ticks all of the boxes on our hit list. But let's be honest here, G68 isn't the problem. Yeah, she's an Imperial plant stirring up trouble, but the problem isn't that she exists, but that she was allowed to get in so deep with no resistance. We can't even believe she's still free and strolling around government buildings after she fried Dr. Pershing's brains. Did no one ask her why the patient fried with just her in the observation room? How did no one connect the dots? Even with that insanity out of the way, we all know the admin didn't need to hear her input to deny Navarro aid. She just gave him a convenient excuse, because that's what the New Republic is built on: excuses and apologies. What do we really see when looking at this new government? It's not some bastion of democracy, but a government so obsessed with doing things by the book that they've completely paralyzed themselves with bureaucracy. In the days of the rebellion, command would have been one call away and support would have arrived for Navarro ASAP. Instead, the captain has to rely on a group of Mandalorians to do what's right. Looking at the New Republic, it's almost impossible to imagine that the Alliance to restore the Republic became this twisted caricature of democracy. Where the Alliance was decisive and determined, the New Republic is drowning in its own regulations. So how did it come to this? 2 weeks ago, we talked about the New Republic's disturbing breach of security protocols and how it was sacrificing its safety and integrity in the name of people feeling as if everything was secure and happy. We had many excellent comments discussing this strategy, and we'd like to bring some of them to light, since the viewers made excellent points. To start with, there's one very ugly elephant in the room: the sequels. Whether you love or hate them, they are a thing that happened, and somehow we had to go from a powerful rebellion to a New Republic weak enough to fall to the First Order in a matter of years. The commenters pointing this out felt that this was Disney's way of making that feel even remotely logical, and in some ways, we agree with that. It's entirely possible that the New Republic is being set up as a weak state to justify the premise of the sequels from a meta position. Lore-wise, other commenters added that these new policies are possibly the result of an alliance that had to make too many compromises to make it work. After the Empire fell, the alliance had to create something new from the ashes. Remember how we said that there were many separatist worlds and non-loyalists in the alliance? No one wanted to see a republic rise that would be as corrupt and imperialistic as the old republic had been. The New Republic had to be safe and respect the decisions of its citizens. It had to be free of corruption. To that end, Mon Mothma and the other leaders probably had to make several compromises to create the New Republic in a way that would keep everyone happy. That resulted in the terrible feel-good policies from the previous episode. That resulted in the crippling bureaucracy and indifference we saw in this week's episode. And let's not forget, that was the reason the New Republic was decommissioning its military, a fact which both we and our commenters thought was rather insane. Looking at the picture of what this new government became, we can't help but feel as if the Alliance was betrayed. They fought for something that turned out to be a different flavor of nightmares, incompetence, and inaction. And in a few years, the New Republic would be no match for the Imperial remnants still skulking around the galaxy. Remnants that people like Captain Teva tried to bring to their attention, but they were dismissed. But threats don't just disappear because we choose not to see them, and soon, the New Republic will realize that if you blindfold and handcuff yourself in a dark alley at night, you shouldn't be surprised when you get mugged. Where do you fall on the spectrum between depressed and outraged after this episode? Did you also feel pure rage when G68 strolled in and ruined everything like it was a regular Tongs Day? Feel free to share your salt in the comments section below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.